Warning, this podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 in Bush, I got him at gunpoint. Check the left on the ball, pull back direction out this side. They're pulling them out.
10-1-1, advise ready for camp.
God!
Welcome to another episode of War Stories. I'm Chuck, and unfortunately, Tom couldn't be here today. Tom's busy working. He's got a day job like we all do, but we are here today with Paul. Hey, Paul, how's it going,
guys? Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. So Paul here is a firefighter, set medic, EMT, and runs Universal Health and Longevity, which, when I was speaking with him earlier, they basically employ set medics and send set medics out and all that stuff, and he works with his wife, who's a set nurse. How are you guys?
Good. And yourself?
Good. Yeah. So man, where to start? I know we were talking before. There's just so much. I'm just going to start right into it. How did you get involved in being a first responder fire, then or EMT probably first, then fire, and then a set medic and all this? How'd that all come in?
Oh man, dude, I'm 40 years old, so I grew up in the old rough, tough days of the 80s. But no, I mean, first film I saw really that I remember that really was in the core of my mind was Backdraft. And I think a lot of guys my age, grew up with that movie. Kind of like, we also grew up with Top Gun and things like that. It was a couple of those movies that really pushed a lot of us younger guys into a career at a young age. So we always had something to really look forward to at that time. But my father, he also works as a firefighter with LA County Air Operations. So he works with the helicopters.
Oh, wow.
Where at?
Actually, where is he stationed at?
He's stationed it's at Barton Heliport, which is in Pacoima.
I know that place very well.
Okay. Okay.
I may have slept there at nighttime behind the guard shack all the way in the back by the helipads.
Okay. Yeah, right there by, was it Whiteman Airport? Yeah. So he's been working there for 25 plus years, I think even over 30 at this point in time.
Wow.
But it wasn't until actually like when I was 18 and I got my first EMT license and I was actually able to go on a ride along and see what, because you see it on the ground, you see in the ambulance, and you kind of like, okay, this is cool. Then being actually with LA County firemen in a helicopter, doing, swift water rescues, watching that type of stuff, doing hoist rescues. At the end of the day, you're kind of like, you fucking kidding me? You guys get paid to do this type of shit, And
you're hooked.
Yeah, you're hooked. It's just like once you get that bug bit, man, or that bug bites you, I should say, it's hard to come back from, And growing up in that type of household, being able to see the type of fire life that comes with it, and the integrity that comes with it, and everything, and the brotherhood that comes with it, it just was something that I was like, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, went into college, went over Mount San Antonio College back in 2002. Got my associates in fire science. Got my EMT through there. I also got my first fire academy through them, a 38th Fire Academy back in 2005. I was not hired, though, until 2008 as a firefighter and also as a fire prevention specialist. I love that side of stuff, doing the fire prevention specialist stuff. That was over in Beverly Hills. We were doing a lot of the hillside inspections where houses came in direct contact with the urban wildland interface.
Right.
So it was our job to make sure that proper clearance was done. Any type of household that was just like, we looked at it, sorry to say, but in certain areas, you would have to kind of make a triage situation and be like, okay, in this canyon, we have these houses that are still wood-sided, shingle, we have to look at that, mark that down and say, okay, if the fire comes down in this area, this is how we're going to attack it. Always pre-planning stuff. Pre-planning is very, very important. I mean, that's something that firemen, I know we do, is as soon as we get a fucking call, we're already thinking about in our head exactly how we're going to, do everything and stick to that fucking plan unless if things change.
Do you guys use the saying, prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. And I agree with it 100%. You have to have that prior proper planning or you're going to perform like crap.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
And if you don't properly prepare, you're just preparing to fail. I mean,
Exactly.
it's such a cliche like type of saying, but it's so fucking true. I mean,
Yeah.
I used a lot of, because I came up in the football, type of world, I guess you could say. I love football. But
Me
I was
too.
also, I was very, very fortunate of being able to be a captain of my football team, Temple City
Nice.
football back in 2001, from 1999 through 2001. But that sport taught me a lot as far as how to look at life. Uh, my coach, Coach Mooney, really taught me that it's the details. It's the details that count. And if you realistically look at life, you can go through life just kind of doing the robotic shit. But if you don't look at the details, that can really fuck you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you bring football into it, because football is such a great catalyst into young men making boys, or turning boys into men, because
Hell yeah.
you have strong role models that they shape you, and you really remember that, and it shapes you for the rest of your life, and it sets you on a good path into
Yep.
adulthood. And I think, just like I think the military, I think a lot of people, majority of people need to go into the military. Like
Yes.
I love, like in Israel, you have to serve minimum of 3 years, right?
I would
I
love to
think
have something like that over here,
it's
my
great.
friend. Just for the fact that, I mean, her brother,
Mhm,
his name's Cart. He's an active Marine right now.
mhm.
So he could tell you firsthand. I mean, he's overseas right now. He's actually being asked to come back right now. Actually, don't know what that's going on about.
Oh, no.
But yeah, we'll see what a little bit later on. There's some training and shit. Won't go into that too much. But yeah, it's a structure that I believe a lot of young men need, because especially
100%.
nowadays, you see it. It's just not there. You know
Mm-mm.
what I mean? I mean, it's kids doing their own thing left and right. I
Mhm.
mean, authority figures are just looked at as shit nowadays,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
teachers, instructors. They don't get the respect that they're supposed to. And
Mm-mm.
it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Right.
so sometimes I'm sorry to say, you need to get your ass kicked a little bit in order to
Mhm.
figure out, I got to get an ego check.
I
And
agree.
football provided that for me at a very young age and put me on a very good, solid path. And it also taught me I can do so much more than what I
Mhm.
think I could do.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
only 5'5", dude. I played center at 170 pounds.
Wow. I was
You know,
I'm 5'8" and I played center.
yeah, sure, guys, we're
I was
unite.
also
All right,
captain of my football team.
there you go,
I
bro.
was
So
the captain of the line, so yeah.
it teaches you right there, dude. When you're a little bit smaller than everybody else and you're going up against a 6'5", you have no
Mhm.
fucking fear. You're looking for a weakness and you're going to attack that weakness no matter what. But
Uh-huh.
also, you know what? You're able to lead those people a little bit stronger, maybe than a 6'5" guy that's kind of like, well, I could just go through life a little bit easier. No, fuck that. You go ahead.
Right.
If you hear somebody say you can't do something, you push yourself even harder to
Mhm.
fucking go do it. You prove them wrong.
Absolutely. You try a lot harder too when when you're a little bit smaller too, because you want to be
Mhm.
nasty, you want to be strong, and you got that fire. And I think that we need a lot more of that. We need a lot more of those strong male role models in these young men's lives.
Oh, yeah.
It's so apparent. You see these young men turning into adults. We're not going to say men, I'm going to say an adult, because lots of them are not.
Mhm.
And because they just didn't have that discipline growing up. And then sure, they may learn it down the road. They may learn that discipline, but they're going to be behind the curve as an adult. And I mean,
Yep.
you see parents nowadays scolding you don't see them scolding their children anymore, because the ones that you do, they're getting side eyes, dirty looks. People are saying stuff to them like it's any of their business. I mean, so it's just like a dying culture almost. So I love it when people bring that up, and they bring up, strong male role models and just shaping people. So I mean, that's great.
Well,
And it
I
sounds like
mean,
you had that.
you create weak men, you create a weak society.
Yeah.
We've seen that apparent enough as it is, and we need more men to stand up, take
Mhm.
charge, and be able to say, this is where we're going to go. Sorry about it, but strong survive, weak will not. And
Yeah.
we need to have that strong sense back, especially in America. That's what I
Yeah.
believe, because we need to have people come together. We need to be able to unite first. I understand that, but you need to have a strong sense, because if you're just a weak ass, sorry to say it, pussy motherfucker, you're going to cower in the corner. And what are you going to get out of that? You're not going to freaking be able to move on in life. You're not going to be able
Mhm.
to build things that you really want to build.
100%.
As I see it right now, we got a bunch of grown up toddlers. Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. Take fucking responsibility for
Yeah.
yourself. If you mess up, big fucking deal. You're learning from that mess up. It's
Yeah. Own
okay
it.
to fail. Yes, own
Mhm.
it. Exactly. Like we used to say in football, oh, fucking wear it. You wear it. You look at that, you forget it, dude. You say, you know what? The next play is the most important. And you learn from that fucking play, and you look at everybody that's in your circle. She's my teammate. She's my freaking head teammate right now. If we mess up in life, guess what? That's on both of us. We're going to both look at each other, and we're both going to look at what we did wrong, figure out a plan, and go on. We're not going to just sit there and point fingers.
Exactly. And it's not how you fail. It's how you recover from failing. It's called failing forward. And you're going to fail in life. And if you fail forward, you're going to be making progress, right? And as long as you move forward and you learn from that mistake, you're going to be solid, and you're not going to do that again, because you're going to learn from those mistakes. I like it. There's other words for it, baptism by fire, things like that. I mean, that's how I learn. So I'll strictly put myself in a position that I know I'm at a disadvantage. I'm like, I'm going to have to work harder to get out, but I'm going to learn so much more than if I just have someone tell me how to do it.
You know, they can,
yeah, I earned it. Exactly.
That's the feeling you can't get. Handed down to you. And that's what we're teaching our son is you earn things.
Trophies aren't just given, you're earned.
Exactly. So it sounds like you were pretty much born into the role of firefighting, EMS, and just first responding, taking care of people. And I know that you said your wife, she's a set medic nurse, or a set nurse. I'm sorry, set nurse, not set medic nurse. Kind of crazy, but
either or.
Sounds better. How did you get into being a nurse?
I actually got into cosmetology first, and
what?
I loved hair and makeup, and my grandmother, who helped raise my brother and I, she was the one that got me into that first. So I went to an amazing school, got a wonderful education, worked at a salon spa, loved that. I went more into the facial side of it. I loved the anatomy and physiology of it. Then I got into the medical field because I knew there was more to what I can do.
Do you think that helped you, cosmetology? Because I know you have to have a lot of attention to detail cosmetology when you're, you know, makeup, hair, and all that stuff. A lot of attention to detail. Do you think that helped you when you became a nurse?
Oh, definitely, yes. And
awesome.
I just, like I said, the anatomy, physiology of it, when it came down to doing the science for the nursing part of it, it gave me an advantage. Definitely.
Awesome. And now you guys run a company together.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give that name out for everyone to listen. We're going to hit this up a couple times throughout this.
No problem. It's still a growing company. We just started up this last year. It's called Universal Health and Longevity. Basically, I mean, of course, my key focus is on TV and film, providing set medics such as myself or set nurses such as my wife to productions, whether I have union members so they can do union shoots, or I have non-union such as my wife right here that can do non-union shoots. But we also do corporate events. We also do special events. You know, anytime that you need something as far as an EMS provider there, we don't have the ambulance services, but if you just simply need, we need first aid. Hey, I got over a $5,000 kit plus an AED, oxygen, basically a CVS pharmacy I carry with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
That's just what I want to bring. I know a lot of set medics, they come with jump bag and this, that. I kind of go overboard with myself. I'm that type of person that if you're going to put me into something, especially like, let me put it this way. If I go to the gym and they say, take it easy, I don't know how to take it easy. I'm going to go to the gym, kick. She's laughing because she knows. If I don't kick my ass, I don't feel like I succeeded that day. So if I go to something and I feel like if somebody asks me, hey, do you have red gum? I don't know. And if I don't have it, I feel like a failure.
And then he hits me up saying, can you order that on Amazon for us?
Exactly. Yeah. Because you know what is right there? It's just I look at it as like on myself as a fail, but it could also look at it as like, okay, now I have this for next time. So when somebody else comes and they ask for this, now they know like, hey, that guy has like pretty much everything. And that's what I want to build on my side is knowing, hey, not only do I have experience, but also at the same time, I'm able to adapt to each and every single type of situation or set that I'm put on to be able to provide the services that production needs.
Right. It's kind of like carrying a gun. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, you know?
Exactly.
You come overly prepared because you never know what you're going to encounter. I mean, you're not running on a rig. I mean, you're your own person, your own entity, taking care of everybody on set. And if God forbid something crazy happens and you know, you don't have that coverage, they're going to look to you and be like, what are we going to do? And you're like, oh crap. I don't know.
Exactly.
You know, so
Yep.
it's, you know, and honestly, you're a lot like, it's crazy, but you're a lot like one of our co-hosts, Matt. He comes on and co-hosts War Stories, and he's also a host of Locker Room. He is a set medic, EMT, and you guys like so similar. He's very over prepared all the time, everywhere he goes. And then when he does set medic stuff, he's way over prepared. And because he runs under the same assumption, like I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I love that. And it's, you know, that's such a good thing. I mean, you're a walking CVS pharmacy. Everyone looks up to you.
It's just like the old saying is, you know, what was I just going to fucking say? I just forgot the damn thing.
It happens all the time.
It'll come back. I'm 40 years old and I've been hit in the head a lot. You know, give me a break. So, no, but I mean, like, it's just you prepare for the worst and hope for the best. You know, that's what I was going to say. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's a lot of EMS firefighter sense. I'm sure, you know, officers think the exact same way. Whenever you're going to prepare for something, man, unfortunately, when you get into the firefighter industry or even medical industry, you're going to see a lot of shit. You're going to see a lot of shit that you don't want to see, but it will let you know, like, hey, this shit, it exists. It's out there. You know, things can happen at a turn of a fucking dime. So
they can.
You have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, because if you don't prepare for the worst and you think, well, I don't need that tool today, I'll be okay. Guess what happens?
You're going to need that tool.
Fucking tool.
I can't tell you.
We have emergency kit in our car because there's so many times we had to pull over and assist in an accident.
Oh yeah,
and we were there. You know, exactly. We've been there before. First responders doing the vitals, controlling the blood, controlling the situation.
Yeah.
So when they come on, we're able to give report and pass on the patients to them, and they're stable.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I mean, I don't like doing the Ricky rescue type of thing, but there was no fire on scene or whatever, and the guy was unconscious in the car, and the car was starting on fire. So at that point in time, I'm like, you know what? I have a duty to do. I got to pull over at this point in time. So
I would have done the same thing, and I know anyone else as a first responder would do the same thing. And if I see a copper by himself fighting on the side of the road, and I don't see anyone, I don't see any lights coming, I don't care how injured I am, I'm going to jam on my brakes, get out of the car, stop a safe distance. If I have my family, I'm going to try to, you know, hey, put your heads down, lay on the floor. I don't know if he's got a gun. I'm going to go and handle this and try to, you know, set off as much as I can. And then I'm going to run up or hobble as much as I can up there. And then I'm going to lay waste to whoever is trying to hurt my partner, because at that point, they're a brother, they're a sister. I'm going to look at them as my partner anyways. And I know that anyone else would do the same thing for me. At least I hope they would. So, I mean, yeah. And I brought up like that, you know, so I don't know if it's culturally or what, but I think people who are drawn to service have the same mentality, you know, and for my personal car, I run a tourniquet in every car. I run a tourniquet on my person. I have a Sharpie attached to my tourniquet so that I can write time and date or just the hours of when I apply the tourniquet, so that we know how long that limb has to before it starts to die and stuff like that, before, you know, nerve damage and shit sets in. And, you know, I learned all that in the Marine Corps, being a combat lifesaver and all that other stuff. But, you know, and it's crazy that you run a full bag in your personal and you over prepare for work. For us as cops, I mean, we don't really run the EMT stuff, or I have my own personal IFAC, and then I'll have another IFAC for traumatic bleeds and stuff like that, and sucking chest wounds and all that stuff. But I also know how to improvise that shit. If I don't, I'll grab a Dorito bag and some tape. I don't care. Yeah. You know?
And that's matter. The thing, dude, is in this profession it's not like a lot of professions where it's very easy. The book will answer it. That's what you do.
Right.
On this side of things, dude, you're going to have situations where, hey, what if you only have 2 tourniquets and you need 4? You need to be able to figure out, okay, what do I have readily available? Think on the ball, be able to think outside the box and perform at that time in a very clear sense too. That's the one thing that I know a lot of times people have hard times with, is controlling their emotions in those type of situations. Yeah. You know, so that's where another thing is with sports becomes very, very important because of the fact of, like, dude, I used to fight MMA, and I getting inside of a cage for the first time, getting that door locked on you, you think you're ready. That's one of the scariest fucking things I've ever done, dude, because I was like, oh shit. But I'll tell you what.
You know you're about to get punched in the face. Like,
dude, you're either you're going to win or you're going to get your ass kicked. So
yeah. And you're getting punched no matter what.
Yeah. So the anxiety level, once you start getting into those situations, you start becoming a little bit more adaptive to those type of feelings and anxiety coming towards you. And you learn how to use that in a positive sense, not a negative sense. A lot of people, it holds them back, it clams them up. If you're able to learn, hey, I work really good under chaos, I'm able to take this and basically use it as an adrenaline push to perform even better.
Yeah.
That's what sports has helped me out. So if there's any young guys out there that are like, hey, what did sports do for you? It did a lot. It did a shit ton. And, you know, you're saying it, I'm saying it. She was involved in cheer and stuff. If you don't work in a team setting, how the fuck are you going to be able to work in society?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
exactly. It teaches you the building blocks, the foundation for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And all I know is that I'm super good under stressful situations. And I learned that through football and through the military, and just, I don't know, it's something when someone's trying to kill me, I'm super calm. I know people are trying to kill me. I'm super calm. I know I'm going to a place that other people have guns. Super calm. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm more clear-headed that way than sitting in a car with my children, letting them scream, or they're not letting them scream, but they're throwing temper tantrums. You're trying to get them to be quiet. That is more stressful than I think someone trying to shoot at me is.
It's not just me, okay? No, I'm the exact same way. There's those little triggers that will set us off, but yet there's also those things that will set other people off, and it puts us in almost like a trance mode where I say, like, oh, dude, robot mode. I go into my training.
Yeah.
And you block out every single other thing, you know? I mean, back in 2017, right over here in Monrovia, we had a shooting at a bar. I just shown up there and shit rang out. And instead of being able to freak out or, you know, looking at everybody else freak out, it almost, like you said, puts you into that calm sense. Let me figure shit out. And it almost like, maybe it's the adrenaline also kicking up at the same time. It's almost like slow motion. You can,
it's like a state of zen. It's weird.
Yes, exactly, dude. Yeah. And it really is. And the shittiest part about it is after you're done, you kind of look around, you're like, that was fun.
Yeah. You're like, that was wild.
Yeah.
That dude got freaking shot, and that was crazy. You know,
it's a sense of, like, I mean, I don't want people to take that wrong, but it really is. It's a certain type of person that is built for, I guess you could say, these type of jobs, because some people, they think that, like, oh, well, I know after 9/11, a lot of men wanted to be firefighters. A lot of women wanted to be firefighters. Everybody and their mom wanted to be. For what reasons? Just so you could be the hero look,
have the glory,
have money.
All it is the glory.
You know, and it's just like,
for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you want to be a firefighter, I'm going to tell you the truth. It is one of the best professions that you could ever do.
Yeah.
But it does take up a lot of your time.
And a toll on your body, your health, your family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, so it takes a lot of commitment to be able to do it. It takes a very strong woman by your side and a very strong family by your side. And if you feel at any point in time, guys, if you're dating a woman and she don't feel like the one, it's okay to say, go. She ain't the one. It's just like when women meet a guy and they know that he ain't the one. It's okay to be able to say, you know what? Let me put my dick away for a second and look at this clearly. Is this woman going to be able to take care of the household while I'm gone? Is she going to be able to teach the kids and raise them while I'm not there? Financially. Correctly. Financially, is she going to be able to look? There's that big thing again of teamwork that I've always mentioned about, you know, football and everything else. Like I said, she's my teammate. When I'm gone and I'm not be able to come home for a couple days or whatever it may be, I don't have anything to worry about because she's got freaking this place on lockdown.
Yeah.
So
I preach the same thing, and we don't even know. This is the first time you and I have met, but yet
Yeah.
I have been saying the same stuff on this podcast for years, that you need a strong woman by your side. You need to know, because especially if you're going into first responding, like law enforcement or police, law enforcement or fire, you have to have a strong significant other by your side, man or woman. You need to have a strong significant other. And if they're not that person, and you're going into it and they know that this is what you want to do and they don't want to be with you, that's probably not the person for you, because you're going to need someone strong by your side. And every person that I've talked to, the tier 1 guys, you know, Navy SEALs and things like that, and they all say the same thing, that that having their wife by them to support them and to be that backbone for them and to just hold down the fort where they're gone, and it takes away stressors that they don't have to worry about on the battlefield. And they're just, it's just, I don't know how to put it into words.
They're clear-headed. They can focus on their duty, their job.
Yeah. And we all say the same thing, and it's so important. So yeah, again, I can't stress that enough, guys. If you think that person's not the one, she's probably not the one, or he's probably not the one. You know what I mean? If they're not there to back you up, you'll know quick too. The crazy thing is, my wife, because I've been divorced and I got remarried, and she knew I was a cop, and she got with me, and I had to sit down with her. I was like, okay, like, look, I'm not going to leave this profession for you. I don't care who you are. I'm not doing it. If you want to be with me, this is what it looks like. And we had that heart to heart. I mean, it was respectful. It wasn't disrespectful. It was like, hey, I want to be with you, but this is my life, and I hope you can be with it. And she was like, yeah, absolutely. And she stuck by me. My ex, high school sweethearts type of thing, went in the military, didn't really work out. And then she held grudges against me because I became a cop so easily, which wasn't easy. It was like a year and a half to try to even get on. And she held resentment for me. And then it was so difficult. And then it was kind of like constantly battling back and forth. And you go to work and your head's all messed up. And then the contrast when you finally meet the right person for you, it's a night and day difference. You're super clear-headed. And it's just, it's so much better. It's so much different. So I can't stress that enough. But I think, I don't know. I'm going to get into these fires, because I've worked a bunch of these fires, and it kind of goes back into something that you guys were saying, that, people, they look at the glory and they look at all that stuff, and they want to be firefighters after 9/11 because they want the glory. They want people to pat them on the back or whatever. And there's a good bunch that were like, no, I want to be a firefighter or a cop or go into the military because I want to defend my country, or I want to help those who can't help themselves. And those guys made a big impact on me. And there's those two types of people. And then I've been injured for the last 3 years. I've worked a bunch of fires in LA County, in Los Angeles, where a bunch of mutual aid was called in, and it looked like the fires that we had just recently seen, except it was on a lot smaller. There was about 2 fires, but all of San Fernando was on fire. All the hills were on fire. Santa Clarita was on fire. Angeles National Forest was on fire. And it was just nasty, big fire. And we were there for like a week straight working these fires. And so I see all these coppers and stuff now, like out there, and firefighters out there, doing the Lord's work. And I'm so like bummed that I can't be there. But it's not because I want to be on the news. I hate being on the news. It's because I miss helping those who can't help themselves, and getting out there and just, I don't know, just doing the Lord's work, and people looking up to me. I love it when people were looking up to me, and they came to you for advice and help. And it feels so good to give them that advice and to help them. So I'm watching these fires and I'm like, damn, I wish I was out there. What are your thoughts on these fires?
Well, first, I'll agree with you 100% exactly what you were saying is, like I was saying earlier, we live in Monrovia. So we watch these fires, or at least the Eaton fire, literally start a mile from our house. And my good buddy, him and I were partners together on the rig, lives like not even a mile from me. Drove over and we sat there and watched these fires start off. And last time we were together on a rig, fighting fires in the hills was back in 2010, I want to say.
Okay.
We're old guys now. We're in our 40s. I got a bad back and everything, but we were saying the exact same thing. If we could jump on a rig right now and just go do it. And it's not even for money. It's not even for the glory, or just like you said, you're used to that captain position. So you like to be able to be in that position where people can look at you. You can look at certain individuals and know they're not strong enough.
Yeah.
They can come to me though. I can be that strength for them.
Yeah.
Some people take that the wrong way. I don't know why. It's okay sometimes to say, just like you were giving praise to the Lord, I had to fall on my knees and tell the Lord, I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anybody out there that ever thinks that they're not strong enough for certain things, it's okay to ask for help, especially from the Lord.
Exactly.
But it's okay to also, once you get that strength, to pass that strength on to other people. If you see somebody that needs that strength and they need help, that's where guys like us come in, and we go ahead and pass and show other young kids. These are the type of things that we need in life. These are the men that we need in life. Because guess what? If you don't have that strength, who's going to be strength? Who's going to be that strength to lead people to safety? Who's going to be that strength to basically round people up? We're made for that for a reason. I think that it's a God-given talent, like you said, but there are others out there that will lead, or I should say, learn to lead through time. But it takes men like us to basically show and pave the way.
Yeah, to teach them. Yeah, because if you have, I've seen that both sides of that, where so I did my probation in law enforcement in a very tough area, and very, very fast, very busy, lots of shootings, lots of stabbings, lots of, oh my God, what the fuck in your face stuff. And then the contrast that when I wheeled out, I went to a different area, and I was like, whoa, this is totally different. You had probationary officers talking back to their training officers. The training officers were like, I'm just going to teach them the bare minimum, push them out. I don't care. And I'm like, what? This, like, the culture from my last place was, you're going to know, because when we say our name, when you say I did probation at blah, blah, blah division or whatever, they are going to hear that name. They're like, he's locked on, he's squared away, because we have a good track record. We don't want them to be like, oh, you did your probation. Ugh, you're garbage when you will, because that does you a disservice. And it just makes you, everyone's going to look at you and they're going to be like, he doesn't know what he's doing, or she doesn't know what he's doing, that she's doing, it's not something good. So we always preach that, and we got trained really hard, and I'm thankful for it, because when I saw all these young boots out there, I'm like, oof, they didn't know how to do anything. And then because I got so experienced down there, I only had 2 years on the job, and I was already rolling with probationary officers, because they didn't know what they were doing. And I had to get them their feet wet, because their training officers weren't doing their job. And because we're afraid of this new culture of, well, I'm going to get beefed by my trainee if I talk back to, or I talk down to him, or talk down to her, or, speak to him a certain way, or tell him to do things a certain way. Maybe it was, too blunt, or it hurt their feelings. I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm just gonna, hands off, do the bare minimum. And I'm like, dude, that just does these kids such a big disservice. And
it does, it really does, because just like we were saying about failure is a huge part in life. I mean, Sylvester Stallone, I think, said it best, is it's not how many punches you can throw, it's about how many punches you can take and get up and keep going.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, it's just in life that if you just demand specialty treatment, you're never going to fucking get anywhere in life. That's number one. And number two, like I said before, you're going to create a weak society. I hate to say it, but going back to the fires, working around the crews that I work around today, and, I love working around the crews I work with now, because I choose to work with those crews. A lot of the guys I work with are retired firemen, or they're active firefighters, and they're a little bit older. The younger guys, it's a challenge sometimes, because when you're under stress and you're trying to get somebody to do something, you got a boot there, and you're trying to tell them, like, hey, I need you to do A, B, and C. And then they walk to the scene, instead of like, hey, you don't need to run, but have a little bit of a, get up and go on your step, dude, Yeah. And then if I look at you and say, hey, motherfucker, don't give me attitude, man.
Yeah.
Have respect for that. Learn from your mistakes and say, shit, okay. Have some freaking, like, I guess you can say, like, fear in yourself of knowing, if I don't do this right, I'm going to look like a piece of shit. And actually have some respect for your fucking name, dude. Like, go out there and want to know, or have people know, if I'm doing this, I want people to know I'm fucking on top of my game. I know exactly what I'm doing. And you know what? Even ask, what the fuck can I do better?
Yeah. I mean, most of the guys doing the job out there, fuck, dude, they're so solid, and they're out there, and they're doing everything. But there are a lot of issues, training issues, that I've seen in just law enforcement with a new way of policing and stuff like that. And it's like, we need to get back to the old stuff, but I don't know if it's because all this technology and these policies and stuff like that, and they're just not having time to train. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it on the law enforcement side, so I can totally get where you're coming from for like the fire side when you're seeing this stuff and you're like, what? And you have questions, but it's good to have those questions because I think some of this stuff had been mismanaged. I mean, you hear about dams up in Palisades in Malibu area, freaking empty because they're doing maintenance on it in fire season. Well, fire season is now year round, but in California. However, there are times that have higher fire. Like, why were you planning it then? Why not, wait till it rains or something? I don't know. I'm not an engineer or I'm not a firefighter, but there's a lot of questions that I have. I'm like, why was that empty? Why were there fire hydrants with no water? What happened? Why was the infrastructure so affected? Why didn't we have better infrastructure in place? I mean, it's 2024, 2025, when these things kicked off, why didn't we have better things in place? It just seemed like it was mismanaged to me, and maybe not at the fire level, but maybe at the mayor's level, maybe at the governor level, things like that. Maybe at the top portions of big fire agencies, they focused more on things that probably shouldn't be focused on. I mean, it's so great to have diversity. I think it's great. But if you're going to focus your fire department majority on diversity, I think there's been mismanaged a lot at the top, with some of the mayors and governors and things like that. I love diversity, but if you're going to focus a majority of your stuff, and I'm talking about LA City Fire right now, some of the stuff that came out, I'm like, that shouldn't be coming out of your guys' mouths. I mean, really, it shouldn't. That whole TikTok thing of that one of the head people in LA City Fire, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what? Why are you saying that? Like, that should never come out of your mouth. No. I would have been in trouble if I would have said something like that as an officer. Oh, I would have been suspended.
It's funny how the lower ranks are so much more scrutinized and managed than the upper ranks. It seems like the upper ranks nowadays. I mean, I don't know about you, man, but I'm a lead firefighter for my fire crew. So when my crew does something wrong, whether I see it or not, if my firefighter that is under my command does something wrong, that's my fucking fault, dude.
Yeah.
I'll take the blame for it 100%. And
goes back to owning it from football.
Exactly. And if you think you're frustrated and you got freaking a lot of questions, how do you think firemen that are fighting these fires feel?
I bet you they have so many questions. Like, just like we as cops had questions during the riots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad actually at this point in time. I mean, like we said, I wish I was out there. I wish I was with the brothers, and I wish I was, helping, keeping them safe as well. But at the same time, I'm glad I'm not, because I know that if I were to tap in or try to tap into a hydrant and nothing would come out, I would just be sitting there cussing. The only reason why I say that is because, I know I'm Irish, guys. Like, fuck that.
It's okay.
So, but I mean, back in 2008, there was a couple fires that sprung up in a 4-day span. Actually, it was between Santa Barbara, Silmar, and then over here in Yorba Linda with the Tri-Complex fire. Yeah. Sure, plenty of firefighters, if they see this, they'll remember that. When we got over to the Tri-Complex fire in Yorba Linda, I don't recall if it was because the DWP plant got burnt down or if the power got cut, but for some reason we weren't getting water to those hydrants. And so, but it was after investigations, it was because, the pumps weren't working because of A, B, and C. At least we had fucking water that we could go down to, pick up, and then go back up. I just couldn't imagine even these guys trying to, I mean, I saw some video of guys filling up tool bags of water trying to put out, a dumpster fire.
That's crazy.
Using people's hoses.
Yeah,
well,
what do you have an idea of why do you think there wasn't any water in some of these fire hydrants?
Well, it was just the mismanagement of water management's part. I mean, seeing some of the letters, like I said, I don't want to get too much into it, but seeing some of the letters that I have seen from other chiefs asking their own head chief, like, what in the hell Why is this? Why is that? You knew about this. Why didn't you act upon it? Why didn't you act upon the budget cuts? You knew that this was happening. Why didn't you fight for us? When you're a fucking leader, you're there to fight for your fucking crews. And like I said, you're there to take the punches just as much. You're not there to point fingers. And I'm seeing a lot of fingers being pointed. Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. And, I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, if you're straight, if you're part of the LGBTQ community. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. If you fuck up, you fuck up. It just is what it is. So it has nothing to do with what we're saying on a political basis. It's just I'm looking at what I'm seeing on a logical basis and saying there's a lot of shit that went wrong here.
So it's not normal for fire hydrants and water to just disappear out of these hydrants. That's not normal, correct?
No.
I'm not a I'm a cop. I mean, I know we give firefighters a hard time, call them hose draggers and stuff like that.
I work with you guys as well. I also, other than being a set nurse, I work with multiple police agencies as their nurse. Yeah.
And we just don't know. I mean, we're honestly, cops kind of meatheads. Like, it is what it is. We're smart meatheads, right? That's the best way I could put it. But yeah, I was watching. I was like, wow, what? There's no water. I'm like, what? Did something break? Did the fire get too hot and it just cracked like water lines? Like, what happened?
No, we didn't have water, bro.
What? That's it's crazy. Like, wow. I mean, it blows my mind. And wow.
And you know what the saddest part is when you see repetitiveness of, sorry to say, when you see shit go on and then you look to your government and you say, what's going on? And they look at you and say, what are you talking about? We don't know what you're talking about. That's not there. Or we have answers, but then they don't answer those.
Right.
You have to look at it like I say, a football team. If you got an awesome football team and you're losing, something's wrong with that coach. Look at USC. Oh my goodness. They got talent on that football team, man, but they could never close out those fucking football games because of one reason. They got shitty coaches, man. We got some shitty coaches at the top right now that are not putting our resources where they need to be. I mean, basic 100%. Fucking fundamental shit.
Yes.
It's not being taken care of. And meanwhile, we know, because all we have to do is look at people's salaries. Let's go ahead and look at the homeless project that they went ahead and put so much money into. It's not getting any better. It's getting worse. Well, why did they keep on asking for money? Well, what's the top guy? What's his salary? You know what I mean? Like, let's take a look at the people at the top, because shit travels down fucking hill.
Yep. So you hit that right on the head, nail right on the head. What do you think about the fires and being arson? Because they seemed way too far apart to just all start popping up at the same time. And then we saw people setting fires. We saw people doing crazy shit, dropping off gas cans in the Palisades. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, I could go down the rabbit hole and be like, this is a George Soros funded thing. You know, they hired actors to do all this stuff, to set fires, to create chaos. Like, I mean, I could go down that, but is it just bad people? Do you think maybe one of them started that was natural and the rest were arson? Or what's your thought on that?
Chuck, the thing is what you're saying is that you're getting these ideas in your heads. We're getting these ideas in our heads for a reason, because they're not giving us answers. And we're seeing all this shit going around us. And we're like, wait a minute, none of this is making sense. I'm looking at fire activity that doesn't make sense to me. Why are firefighters being told, hey, do you have pictures of these fires on your phone? Clear them. You're not allowed to have those.
I've never been told that. Is that's really happening?
That's really happening right
Holy
now.
Shit.
It's going on.
Bro, I have like so many of fires, and they never even gave a shit.
No, we're being told that if you have pictures of the fire, basically because what they're saying is, it's an open investigation. What's so being open investigated about burned down homes other than like, okay, yes, this is your house. Insurance is supposed to come in and do this A, B, and C, and we need to have a security presence for looters right now. We don't need to have people being told, you need to stay inside of your home. You can't come outside your home for your own safety, which is going on in Altadena. And it happened for what, at least 5 days?
Yeah, just about.
Why? So when you have those type of things go on, conspiracy theories are going to spring up, because it's kind of like, well, let's follow the breadcrumbs. In this case, let's follow the money. Well, the money obviously was diverted to something else. Why?
There's some fishiness going on. We need to be asking these questions.
We have to be asking these questions, and I hate it when people say like,
Question
well, just
everything.
listen to the experts. Who are the fucking experts at this time, dude? Because you know what? I can go to one doctor and they can say, you know what, that mole needs to come off because it's cancerous. I'm going to go get a different opinion. It's called an opinion for a reason. We're not experts on jack shit. Realistically, we're learning all the damn time.
Yeah. 100%.
But if we open up and actually just look and use our common sense, you can kind of come to your own answers. You don't need to have answers from other people.
Yeah.
So do I look at this shit and think, is it shady? Is it looking kind of like none of this makes sense to me? Because at one point they said, oh, the Palisades fire started at this address, at this house, at the top of this street. But then video footage showing it up in the hills away from the properties.
Right. So is there anything that's happening that the public doesn't know that we really should know?
Not that
regarding all these fires.
I mean, nothing that's spectacular, nothing that we know. I mean, that's all at the top. Like I said, I give nothing but such strong credit to all these men and women out there right now fighting these fires, providing services, volunteering their time, because there's a lot of people out there that they go to work and they earn a paycheck. They come home. They don't really care as long as they get their paycheck. You know, men and women like us, we love our job. We don't do it for the paycheck, but we're also willing to die for that paycheck,
right?
If needed. It's not like we go out there thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna die today,"
right?
But
and
I
hate it when people say, "Oh, well, you're a cop or you're a firefighter. You signed up to die." I'm like, "Well, okay, hold on. That was okay. I didn't sign up to die. I'm not coming here to die. I signed up that if I had to give my life for someone to protect someone, I would." But I didn't just show up to be like, all right, I'm ready to die today. No. That's not.
I have a family. I'm human, dude. Like I'm just like that person that lives, next door or whatever else. Just because we carry badges, it doesn't make us fucking superheroes, dude. You shoot me, I'm still gonna fucking die, type of thing. So we're still thinking risk reward. Basically, well, if I risk this, what's going to happen to me at this point in time? Am I going to go home or am I not going to go home? I mean, you look at, of course, life first. You're going to go ahead and do what you can to protect that person at that point in time. But if you look at property sometimes, such as firefighting, we have to do that type of triage. And a lot of times people are complaining because they're like, we don't see firefighters A, B, and C here. We don't have the resources right now. I hope people understand that we just don't have the manpower / woman power to be able to fight these fires correctly.
That brings up
also
another question.
Okay, go ahead.
About not having like the amount of not having the resources with manpower and things like that, which, I mean, let's face it, LA and just California in general has been in a deficit of cops and fire personnel. It just, they have. It's because budget, I mean, maybe if they stop paying the people at the top, maybe that money could come down, and better benefit the actual men and women doing the job. But that brings up something I saw on the news, the Boneyard with LA City Fire. I think it was LA City Fire, all those out of service rigs, just because there's no one to be using them. I mean, and they're just sitting there while the massive fires going on and they could be out there in service doing whatever. What are your thoughts on that?
Horrible. I mean, if you don't have a functioning tool, you're not going to be able to, provide that job source that you're really going to be able to go out there and do. If your hammer's broken, you're not going to be able to freaking hammer that nail correctly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it just goes to show. And of course, there's a lot of things out there. This is all speculation on what I'm thinking and everything, but I'm just looking at it as fire chief, dude. It's your job to make sure that you protect the men and women that serve underneath you, and make sure that all the civilians that we serve or that the firefighters serve that are with LAFD are provided those resources to be able to save lives or protect lives within their region of that they're, servicing, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So when I look at shit like that, dude, again, it's just one of those things of where's the money going?
So you think it's more of like a mismanagement of funds?
Oh, dude. It's not a thought process. It literally is. All you have to do is look at it and you just know, like, well, where did that money go? Why wasn't it put in here? Why was there $17 million budget cut or something like that? Why?
Look at the nurse shortage too that I'm experiencing when I was working in the hospital. So I go elsewhere. Like I said, I joined him doing the set nurse. I work with police officers as their nurse for all types of stuff that they need.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. We just went through COVID.
Right.
And one thing COVID taught us is that we're not prepared for shit.
Oh no.
Dude, I knew that way before COVID even happened. I came in contact with ricin. Like that's a freaking biological weapon right there.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that can kill you. And it tested positive for ricin. And I went to the hospital, and everybody who got brought in who was contaminated by the ricin, who came into direct contact and was exposed to the chemical. Luckily it wasn't activated, so because I wouldn't be here right now, I'd be dead. And so would like 2 engines, 2 RAs, and like 3 police units. We would all be dead. And they brought us to the trauma center. They didn't know how to handle it. They didn't combat. They put me in a broom closet and said, "Hey, take all your shit off, and we're gonna hose you down, and then we'll bring you inside." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Then I walk in butt ass naked, and I'm walking into a room like they did clear a wing for us, and they put us all there. And then I see all fire. I'm like, "Wait, you guys are clothed?" And looking at them, and I'm the only one who's naked. And I'm looking around like, what the fuck? And then I go and look at the training officer who's working with his boot. That his name was Oscar. His name is Oscar. He's a good friend of mine. And I walk over to Oscar, and he's freaking the fuck out. And I walk in, and he just starts laughing. And I guess everything happens for a reason, trust in God. But I'm assuming that happened to make him laugh because he needed it, and he was super down, and he thought he was going to die, and he wanted to see his kids again, and he was just opening up. And I was like, "Hey man, just calm down. At least you're not naked. If you're fully clothed, I'm the one but naked here." And we just started laughing, and it kept his mind off of it. And then, long story short, everything was all good. But that just showed me that you have 4 different protocols going on for one contamination, and it's all being handled differently, which scared the shit out of me, because I was like, if something crazy happens, which ended up happening with COVID, we're not going to know what to do.
Nope.
And protocols were changing every day in the hospital. I was told to reuse my mask for multiple shifts and just put it in a paper sandwich bag, and it would be good for my next shift. And then afterwards, we were told to put it in a trash bag, and it would get sanitized, and then we reuse it because we were out.
Yep.
So anybody out there, watching and hate to say it, if you want to fight, you're working at McDonald's and you want to fight for an $18 paycheck, and you think you're being treated like shit for working 8 hours. Imagine being, with the shit that we had to go through. And we don't complain. We'll talk about it, and we'll laugh even about it. But a lot of times, this is where the dark humor kind of comes into the sense, is that you start building this dark humor so you can look at these situations and just be like, you know what? It could be fucking worse. Get over it.
Yeah, you got to be able to cope with it somehow in a shitty situation, to keep pushing through and not think about all the bad stuff. You know what I mean? So do you think like something like, not COVID, but I mean, or COVID, these fires that just happened, do you think that this will happen again, and how we can prevent against a massive catastrophe like that?
No matter what, we live in California, bro. We're always going to have wildfires. Yes. I mean, back in 2009, when I was fighting the station fire, that supposedly was, I think at the time, the biggest fire or something like that, if not the second, largest fire. So you always think like, oh man, nothing's going to top that. Bullshit. It's just a little taste that we had at that point in time. It's going to happen again. And that's one thing that we have to learn is the older I get, the more and more I actually am interested in history. Because you actually look at history and you can say like, well, it's in the past. Don't worry about it. No, fuck that. You learn from that past. You look at it, and the more and more you delete things, the more and more you're going to forget the answers for how you went about that and how you defeated all that type of stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And you're doomed to repeat it.
Exactly. So history always is going to repeat itself. So if we don't look at our mistakes and know, okay, we have this many people living in Los Angeles. We have this many people living in California. Okay, how many people do we have serving these amount of people? How many resources do we have to protect these people? If the answer is we got 1 to every 1,000 or 100,000, your budget's already wrong right there, buddy. Like we're going to need to freaking recruit. We're going to need to want to make people to be firemen. I mean, after 9/11 or cops, after 9/11, like I said, everybody and their mom wanted to be a firefighter. I asked my friend the other day, is this going to have the same impact, or are people not want to be firefighters after this? I don't know. I mean, I really hope people look at it and say like, man, those guys, they're freaking studs. They went out and they did fucking work with as little as they fucking could, but they got the job done.
Yeah.
I really hope they look at it that way instead of looking at it as like, oh, I don't want to do that fucking job. Look at they didn't do their job correctly or whatever else. It's not them, guys. It's like I said, it's mismanagement of money from the top to go ahead and have them smile on TV about building this new 2028 fucking Demolition Man style city. Like,
yeah, I mean, they did some crazy shit. I mean, they started putting homeless encampments paid for by the city outside of our stations. Like, it was just crazy. You're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, and that's your answer to homelessness? Butt it up against the police station because we're going to keep it in. Like, what are you doing? It makes it so unsafe for everybody. Makes it unsafe for us and for them. Because what if we're rolling code out of a back for a backup or a help call? Those gates pop open. We're lights and sirens, and we're only thinking about getting to our partner. We run over a dead person or run over a homeless person who's now dead, and now you have to stop what you're doing because now you have a crime scene.
You know what, Chuck? It's easy when you're sitting in an office to go ahead and say, "This is how I feel." But when you're out there and you see it, firsthand, and anybody that talks shit about cops, anybody that talks shit about firemen, go on a ride along for one day and see what it's really like. You're going to have a different point of view of everything. I mean, anybody that either wants to be a cop or firefighter, go on a ride along. You're either going to freaking love it or you're going to fucking hate it.
Yeah. And then put them through some scenario based stuff. Like give them the gambit. I would like everybody who's like, oh, these people are like, oh, fuck cops, fuck fire. Mainly it's fuck cops. People love fire, but they just, I don't know. It's just that way, because because we arrest people. That's what it is. They don't like the authority figures.
People don't like you said earlier, people will go ahead and it's kind of human behavior almost to see how much we can get away with. Yeah. And until you get told don't do that, you're going to try to push and push and push. Yeah. So of course, dude, like I always tell people, most of my friends are cops actually. So I always look at it as like, how would you like to wake up in the morning and be hated by everybody that you go to work for, basically? Every day you go to work, I'm getting hated on today. Yeah. It's a fucking shitty feeling, man. And like what we were talking about, coping mechanisms even is I was watching this one video and I felt so bad for this one LA City firefighter. He had a retaining wall basically fall on him and it took about 10 guys to get him out. Yeah. After he was out, then the PTSD kicked in and he just started screaming, bro, get me out, get freaking the fuck out. Yeah. The things that we've been talking about, a lot of things that I think we've been pushing towards is thanking the Lord. I've been put in a situation where I grew up a very strong Christian person, and then I lost my mom due to cancer when I was only 25, and I blamed God for a lot of things, and I walked away from him. For that, man. I became an alcoholic, dude, functioning alcoholic. I would drink at nighttime, basically black out, wake up in the morning, go to work, blah, blah, blah. I was living a life where basically I wanted to kill myself. It was nothing that was good in my life. I had to fall to my knees and find the Lord to be able to get drug out of that type of situation. Right. So I've seen other firemen, I've seen other cops fall into the same thing that usually, hey, man, I had a shitty day. What does your partner usually say? Let's go grab a drink. It's okay every once in a while, even says in the scriptures, to go ahead and have some wine to go ahead and get rid of your sorrows. But it's another thing to make it a fucking habit. Right. I mean, the reason why I chose exactly, it's not a good coping mechanism at all. I chose this woman right here because I can come home and talk to her about anything. Yeah. Talking is the main thing that men don't do. Yeah. We'll talk to each other every once in a while. I mean, I go out in the golf course and I love shooting the shit with my guy friends, man. That's like the perfect spot to do it. But guys, it's okay to fucking open up and say, hey, dude, that shit fucked me up, bro. I mean, I sat there and I watched a family of 3 die, burn to death in a car, and it fucked me up for 2 years, dude. Where even working at the Irwindale Speedway, when an accident happened, I was like a little hesitant because that's in the back of your fucking head of thinking, like, what am I going to see? Yeah. And I didn't have that support system of talking to somebody through all that type of stuff. So now that I have her and I know I can fucking open up to her 100%. She may not even have an answer for me. It's not mainly just for me to vent. Yeah. But we need to vent, guys. We need to be able to 100%. Vent. We need to be able to talk to each other, and we need to be able to figure out, what, if you can't do it by yourself, it's okay to turn to God, and it's okay to talk to your brothers and your sisters that also believe the exact same way, because we're all here for you. We're all here for each other to get through this life.
Absolutely. And I love that you preach that, because I preach the same thing all the time. You talk to someone, and if you know someone's struggling, hey bro, are you okay? Like, reach out. You never know if that's going to be the deciding factor. And I know from firsthand experience, it can be, and sometimes it will be. It just is what it is. I mean, I know people who were going to end their life, and they got a text from their buddy, and they just want to say, hey, thank you so much for everything that you've done. You're a really good friend in my life. And he was like, holy shit, I have so much to live for. I have my kids, I have my friends. And it snapped him out of that funk. And he's alive with us today. I know so many other people who have taken their own lives. I got involved in peer support, and we constantly go over this shit over and over and over again, and try to talk to people and tell, hey, you should get that shit out. You should vent. You should find someone to talk to me, put all those burdens on me, and if you have a good spouse and a good woman or a good man behind you, open up to them, talk to them, because if you don't, it's going to come out, and it's going to come out in a way that you do not want it to. And as much as we do talk, I guarantee you there's things that you bottle up and you don't bring out because you just don't want to deal with the stress at that point in time. And then it just kind of starts, overflowing on everything. And then it comes out, and even those of us who are good at talking about our issues still struggle to talk about our issues. It is what it is. I think it's just a man thing. And there are women out there too, especially women in first response. They do the same shit because I think it's a coping mechanism with the shit that we've seen, the stress, the trauma. We don't want to think about it. So we're like, oh, that's going to stress me out. I'm just going to put that over here. I'll think about it later. I'll think about it later. And then you go to put that last one. Oh man, I can't get it in there. And that starts falling back out on you. And then it starts falling back out on your family, So I think I preach that to talk to someone. If you need a therapist, get a fucking therapist. Go to BetterHelp. Go to one of these places online. Use your insurance. Do something. I know most agencies have someone to talk to there. Talk to them if you don't want to burden your family with it. But just know that you should talk to someone, because if you don't, it's going to spill out on people that you don't intend to, and it may hurt them. And I have a question for you. Yeah, I have a question for you, man. And for your wife. What could you give in advice to a younger you, or to a new person wanting to get into the fire service first responding? This is for both of you.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I think just making sure you have that support with you, no matter whether it be friends or family or a mentor. And like he said earlier, do the ride-alongs. I got into nursing because my grandma passed away. And I was like, she got me to cosmetology, and taking care of her. I dropped out of school afterwards to take care of her, and being able to go through that. I was like, I know I could be a nurse. I know I can do this for others. And when I worked in surgery, I treated every person on that table as if it was my family member. I would do the prayers before surgery. God, protect the person on the table, protect everyone in this room. I had that support system because of my mom and my brother. And I made sure that I gave my all. And that's what you have to do. So knowing that I can do this as a nurse, I can help others, I make sure that everyone has that support system. That's the biggest thing for me.
Okay, so support system and talk to someone.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
For me, man, there's a lot within the fire service, man. You're also going to need to have some very good mentors, and you're going to need to know and figure out, okay, especially us men, you're going to be presented with people to hang out with at a younger age that's either going to take you down this path or this path.
Right.
You need to be smart enough to figure out, like, if you're seeing these dipshits, like, oh, they're the popular crowd, they're going out doing weed, drinking, doing this, are they being successful? Are they going down a path that is going to lead them to success? Or are they leading down a path that we're just waiting to get caught? You're going to get caught. You know what I mean? So you can prepare all you want to, motherfuckers, but guess what? You can go ahead and paint the most beautiful painting, but never be called a painter. You can design the most fucking beautiful fucking building, never be called a fucking architect or, whatever. Suck a fucking dick once, you're a dick sucker for life. All right. So it just goes to show every
But then
single
you're piping
decision.
smoke it.
Yeah, dude. Well, you know what? Oh, fucking, fuck this guy. He's fucking honest. It just is what it is, dude. Every single decision you make
Yeah.
has a fucking consequence. It could be a good consequence or it could be a bad consequence.
Right.
Listen to your fucking parents, dude. Listen to the authority figures that are trying to look out for your ass. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, sure, it's great to go out there and be a young guy, drink, try to bang as many women as you want, but you know what, dude? Don't. It's not gonna freaking put any more notches in your belt. All it's gonna do is make you look like a piece of shit, dude. Honestly.
Yes.
If you want to look like a freaking man, dude, you go out there, you bust your ass off, you get your fucking life together, and you prove to a woman like this woman that, hey, I'm the man for you. I don't need to fucking prove anything other than to you except for what I have. They'll come to you. You won't fucking have to chase them, dude. Stop chasing pussy. Let pussy chase you. That's my freaking opinion.
Hey, that's really good because I cannot tell you how many young coppers, young firefighters get into so much trouble over money, booze, and women. Like, it's the three major food groups that are just they could destroy your whole life. And if you do it wrong, I mean, if you don't have your shit together, and yeah, keep going.
Those are three things right there that Satan backs, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, dude? Like, we all love drinking, getting a little buzzed and everything else, but there's a point of no return sometimes, and you aren't in control of your fucking self, dude.
Right.
No, that's not good. If you want to experience, go ahead, fucking experience. You're gonna wake up feeling like shit the next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, every single fucking action that you make, dude, it can fucking turn on you, or it can make you look great. So just know that, you know what, I'm being tested right now. Go the right route, don't go the wrong route, because even though it might seem a little bit fun, it's not fun later on.
Yeah, I love that. I everything you just said, couldn't have said it better myself. That's amazing and so true. I mean, yeah, so true. So keep your head on straight, guys. Pay attention, find a good mentor, and don't let the wrong woman and alcohol ruin your life, because it will. Because because when you become a copper or a firefighter or you're in EMT and you get that first paycheck, you're like, "Ooh, that's a lot of money," or "That's a moderate amount of money," depending on where you're at.
Well, if you're an EMT, you're looking at it like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I gotta go get another job. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. I trust my own profession. Don't worry. Keep on working.
And then you have money to go out and party and hang out and do all this other stuff. Just be smart about it, and don't use it as a coping mechanism, because I got to tell you, I've seen firsthand. You get in some bad shit, and you're like, I'm just going to go and drink. I did it. It didn't work, and it was bad. And luckily, I snapped myself out of it. But I've seen so many people who couldn't, and they used it as a coping mechanism, and they got injured, and they were taking pain pills, and they were drinking because that was their coping mechanism, and it was just something they did, so they didn't think about it, and they ended up killing themselves.
See?
I lost a couple friends that way, and it sucks, so
it's not worth it. I mean, this life can be such great things if you want it to be.
Yeah.
If you put your mindset to a great thing, I mean, wake up in the morning. If you even look on YouTube, the greatest like opening speech, I guess you could say, or like pump up speeches, it's called I am. The two greatest words that we have is I am, because you can wake up every morning and look in the mirror and say I am, and follow it by a positive response. I am great. I am strong. I am fucking, I am everything that I need to be today. You're manifesting something right there in yourself. And if you do that, it's just going to continue. Negativity is a fucking cancer. Get that shit fucking out of your head. If shit goes wrong, guess what? Look around you, brother. We're in hell right now. We got to go through hell to get to heaven, basically.
Yes.
Just know every day something's going to go wrong. It's how you fucking handle it. It's how that day is going to fucking turn out. So every single morning, I am great. I am strong. I am going to do good. Because when shit fucking happens wrong, you're just going to look at it and be like, cool, I'm good with it. We'll just go ahead and go right through this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great words. We're at the end of our time, but that's a great way to end this podcast, this episode. I love that. It's true words could never be spoken better. I mean, that's amazing. And that gives a lot of good information for these younger cats that are on the department, and those who are looking to get on the department. It gives a lot of good advice for when they come on and to help guide them.
Yes,
that's amazing. I would love to have you back on. I would love to get Matt, our resident set medic, in on that, so we could talk more about set medic, get some of those set medic stories, because I know you guys have some. I know you have firefighting stories. We kind of got wrapped up in the weeds with the fires and stuff like that, because they just happened. And, I would love to have you guys back on to talk about that.
sure.
And I would love to get
For
Matt
sure.
involved in it. So if we could set up a time to get you guys back on, that would be amazing with our producer, Dylan.
Nice.
Yeah, if you guys would be down for that, I'll have him set it up. He's listening right now, so he's probably already going to get on it and probably reach out to you guys on LinkedIn and get you guys back on here. But at the end of every episode, we give a chance to dedicate the episode to our guest for a fallen brother or sister. And I know that you have one, and I want to give you that opportunity right now to dedicate the episode to that person.
I would like to dedicate this episode to an outstanding young man that lost his life in 2009. Back in 2009, right before the station fire kicked off, I was lucky enough to sit down and have a meet and greet. Basically, it was almost like an interview style process of them wanting to know, like, are these good firemen type thing. And it turned into just like a buddy meeting with Captain Ted Hall.
It's all right.
He was a good guy. Very strong man, and somebody that, lost his life doing something that he absolutely loved. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that stood by him during that fire and stood by his family. This is something that we love and that we absolutely love to do, but this is a brotherhood between anybody that wears blue.
Yes.
So just know, if you're watching this type of stuff, it's okay to cry and then to love and mourn people that we love. But let's remember what they did, and let's fucking keep pushing on and be better for them. Okay. So, but yes, this is for Ted Hall, man. I miss you, brother. God bless you.
Well, Ted Hall, rest easy, brother. We have it from here. I mean, we're going to keep doing these until we have no one left to dedicate, but unfortunately, it's probably never going to happen because of the job that we chose. And there's brave men and women out there that are putting their lives on the line every single day for zero thanks. And they are willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of humanity. And Ted Hall was an example of that. So again, rest easy, my brother. We have it from here. I know it's rough, and it's okay to cry. You're right. That was rough. And it's never easy losing a brother. It never is, or a sister. Never.
Exactly.
It's always going to get harder. It's never going to get easier. And it sucks. But let's try to end this a little bit happier. I know you guys run a company, and you guys already plugged it. I want to give you a chance to plug whatever you have going on right now. Tell people where they can find you. If they're looking for set medic work, tell them where they can get a hold of you at. Maybe they didn't hear the first part. They're going to hear it now.
Basically, like I said, we're still a company that's on the up and up. Still trying to design our website at this point in time. But if you want to go on LinkedIn, you feel free. I have my LinkedIn page set up, has everything that you can contact me on with there. Also on Facebook, Paul Ewell, you can more than likely find me there. But LinkedIn is usually my business page that I have right now. It's called Universal Health and Longevity. Again, I have a team of set medics, paramedics, EMTs, people that are security guards that are also medics and EMTs. So if you need security, we can go ahead and provide, security guards that have that type of certifications. If you need set medics or medics at a corporate event, if you need just to have medical at a certain type of event, we're able to do that. I was able to go in and do the All In Summit that was over here at UCLA for a couple of days. So those are the type of things that we're able to go ahead and provide for either, like I said, TV productions, film productions, corporate events that are just saying, hey, we're going to have a birthday party, but we want to have it big, but we're going to have over 200 people. We just want to have somebody there just in case. Awesome. Go ahead, hit us up. We're ready to rock and roll for you guys. Awesome.
And again, that is Universal Health and Longevity. Look them up. That's awesome. I love it. I want to say thank you all today for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us on Instagram at @war_stories_official and Facebook at War Stories Podcast. If you're already following us, we really appreciate it if you could share a post and help spread the word. You can also check the link out on our bio on both platforms to find our social media links, and website. Our podcast is available on all major streaming platforms, including YouTube. If you'd like to support us, head on over to our website at www.warstoriesofficial.com. You can grab some gear. We're running out, so get it while supplies last. We are going to be trying to rework some things in the near future. So everything that we have right now, we're never making again. We're getting rid of it, and we're going to come out with all new stuff. Do you have a story to tell? You know someone who does? We're really looking for. We're always looking for law enforcement, corrections officers, dispatchers, firefighters, medics, and veterans, but also those ER nurses, doctors. We know you guys have crazy stories. You guys are out there doing the Lord's work just as much as we are. If you're interested, email us at booking.warstories@gmail.com and share your story. We'd love to have you on. If you know someone who would be a great fit, let them know about it. Send them our way. Give them that booking email, but also give them our TikTok. They can reach out to us there. Dylan runs that. You can also reach out to our LinkedIn. So our TikTok is TikTok at it's www.tiktok at War Stories Locker Room. And our LinkedIn is linkedin.com War Stories Podcast. Thank you for support. Stay safe. Until our next episode, come home with your shield or on it. Hey, Chuck here from War Stories. Hey, I hope you guys like our emergency episode that we just dropped. We had a firefighter on, and I decided I'd ask some of these questions. It's an emergency episode because of the California fires, the Hearst fire, the Palisades fire. Palisades fire, 5,000 homes were lost, lives were lost. Hearst fire, I don't know how many homes were lost in Altadena and Pasadena, but I do know my classmate and a few friends that I serve with in law enforcement lost their homes. So our hearts go out to all you guys, but we had this firefighter on, and we wanted to ask him these hard questions. Why wasn't there water in the hydrants? Was that normal? Why was there so many fire engines in the boneyard? Is that normal? Why is there a lack of manpower? Why are we focusing more on the DEI stuff instead of just hiring and finding the hard men and women to do the job? Why is the questions that we asked as firefighter? He answered. And to all the men and women out there that are doing the Lord's work, we thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are out there every day, busting your humps, doing the right thing. And we thank you. But we do have questions. A lot of us do. And we have to keep asking questions. And that's the only way we have a productive society. To the mayor and to the governor, we have questions for you. A lot of it's why weren't we prepared? Why were so many fires started? Those are the questions that we asked. We got some answers, but there's still so much that we don't know. We hope you liked today's episode, this week's episode. We really do. It's an emergency episode because we just happen to have a firefighter on and we wanted to get it out there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you liked the episode. Stay safe out there.